Hey folks, so we're on our way to Annie's right now, and I just thought I would read a journal in the meantime, which was kind of a mistake. I gotta be honest, this one scared me, but you'll see. Another case file from the Journals of Norman Carter. Here goes. March 10th, 1970. Got a letter all the way from South America today. Chile. Alongside the letter were some newspaper clippings and English translations. Apparently, there's been a rash of fires around some villages, and most of them have been accompanied by monster sightings. The villagers are worried that things are getting worse, so they decided to do something about it. They got in touch with someone who got in touch with somebody else who gave these villagers my contact information. They are begging me to help them. It sounds serious enough that I decided to help. I'll be leaving before the week is up. March 14th. I'm in Chile. Landed in Santiago this morning. A man from the village picked me up, and from there we had to drive about 3 hours south. The area is all small towns and farmland. During the drive, the man told me more about the situation. The locals believe they are being menaced by a monster called the Cherufe. From what I can gather, it was a creature made of lava that lived inside of volcanoes. According to legends, it caused earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and even meteorites. Back in the day, they even used to try appeasing the creature with honest-to-God virgin sacrifices. Though he assured me they don't do that anymore. Now, I don't buy any of those powers, but there is a volcano about an hour away. Cerro Azul, aka Kizapu. It was even active a few years back. The locals think this is when the creature awakened. Since then, there have been arson attacks all over, mutilated livestock, and even a few missing persons in the last few months. These towns are all in a frenzy. We'll begin the search at dawn. March 15th. My plan today was to go into the jungle, heading in the direction of Cerro Azul. 14 men from the surrounding villages volunteered themselves to accompany me. I told them it wasn't necessary to send so many, but these people want the attacks to stop. Honestly, it almost felt more like taking an angry mob into the woods with me. But I can't blame them. I don't mind the help either, since I haven't fully adjusted to the altitude yet. Anyway, we didn't find anything today. I thought I sensed something for just a moment, but then I lost it. We'll be going back out tomorrow and probably setting up a camp out there now that I have a better idea of the terrain. Unfortunately, we lost one of the men on our way back to town. The others think he was taken by the Cherufe. I have a feeling he just got turned around out there, and hopefully he'll be back by morning. March 16th. They're dead. The men who went out into the jungle with me. Every last fucking one of them. March 17th. I couldn't keep writing yesterday. I barely made it back to town and practically passed out once I got that bit written down. I'm feeling a little better now, at least physically, so here's what happened. Yesterday morning, we went into the jungles, as we had the day before. The first man to go missing never returned, so I went out with the other 13. We got started, and 2 more men went missing before noon. No one saw anything. They were just there 1 second, gone the next. At this point, the men started to panic. I finally saw the thing when it grabbed its next victim. Just a big, bright blur moving through the trees. Snatched him up right off his feet and disappeared less than a second later. At this point, I don't know who was more scared. The ones who were able to see it through the fog, or the ones who weren't. I loaded my rifle and kept it ready as we moved through the jungle. It didn't matter, though. This thing started picking us off, one by one. By the time the sun began to set, there were only 3 of us left. There was no way we were staying in the jungle overnight, so we began the trek back to town. And then the goddamn thing started toying with us. All of a sudden, we could hear it moving through the trees, following us. Started making these whistling, hissing noises. And when we had almost reached the edge of the woods, it stepped right out into plain view to block our path. Looked us dead in the eyes, too. This monster had the face of a man. And then flames appeared out of nowhere. Maybe out of its mouth, like a dragon or something. I don't know, it was too fast to tell. A spray of fire enveloped the man closest to me. I fired a shot, and the creature barely flinched. That round could have taken down an elephant, and this thing treated it like a BB gun. Next to us, the trail sloped down into a ravine. I had no other option, so I jumped. Took some bad cuts and bruises in the fall, but when I reached the bottom, I ran back to town as fast as I could. And I was the only one to make it back. This monster is smart. Not only that, it's evil. Pure evil. I'm gonna need something a hell of a lot stronger if I want to stop it. March 21st. Been a few days. I've been resting and planning. I finally feel good enough to go back into the jungle. I managed to send some villagers to a nearby mining company and gave them enough money to buy me 10 sticks of dynamite. And just this morning, we found the remains of the 14 men that had been lost. Their heads, charred and black, sitting in a pile just outside of the jungle. The locals are too scared to go out with me, which is good. I need to do this alone. March 25th. It's done. It was slow going, but I managed to camouflage myself and track the monster. Sure enough, I finally followed it back to the mouth of a cavern at the base of Cerro Azul. Once it was in, I set up every stick of dynamite I had at the entrance to that cave. I started yelling to lure the creature out, and as soon as I heard it coming, I lit the fuse. The whole place came crashing to the ground. I sure hope I killed it. But if not, well, at least it's buried under a few tons of rock and dirt. Once that was done, I returned to the nearest village and told them what had happened. They were relieved and grateful. They all wanted to celebrate, but I declined. I think it's time for me to go home. Wow, you guys, just wow. So, this thing, the Cherufe, or maybe Cherufe, I don't know. It is super creepy. Looking at Norman's sketch, it's like this big lizard or some kind of crocodile with long limbs and a human face. Not completely human, it's covered in scales and stuff, but still gives me the creeps. Also, according to his notes here, it was bright red or orange, which probably caused the legends of being made out of lava. Well, that and the fact that it actually breathed fire, or maybe breathed fire. The only other option I can think of is that maybe it just spontaneously generated fire. With all the other powers we've seen, could pyrokinesis be a real thing too? That'd be crazy. And even though it didn't speak or anything, it was clearly sentient and intelligent and cruel. Like, really hateful. It made a pile of burnt, severed heads, for crying out loud. That's human-level intelligence. So, make that one more creature that's as smart as people. But considering the Goatman used to have a whole tribe, let's hope there's not a bunch of these things running around. And let's hope Norman really did manage to kill this one. Ugh. Until next time, bye everyone!
The Cryptid Cases has been a production of Little Giant Monsters.
You can follow us by searching Little Giant Monsters on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to keep up to date with everything we're working on. We even post a sketch of the latest cryptid every Monday after a new episode.
You can also visit our website, littlegiantmonsters.com, to see all of our content in one place.
While you're there, want our designs on stickers, t-shirts, coffee mugs, and more? We now have merch. Just look for the merchandise link on our website.
If you really like what we're doing and want to see us do more, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Rewards include behind-the-scenes content, bonus material, and more. Search Little Giant Monsters on Patreon or find a link on our website.
You can also help us by leaving a rating and review on iTunes. Not only does each review warm our cold, cynical hearts, but it helps us move up the charts and bring the show to a wider audience.
Your continued support means so much to us. Thanks for listening and see you again soon.